at any time, any place, with any witnesses. If you are not a Jew, don't think that I am an anti-Semite. I'm just giving an example. So it is good that their rights are recognized. It's just an example. So if you are not a Jew, then you have to go to an official registration place to get the dates to be registered, and the authorities would check if there are any impediments to your marriage, if you are relatives, if you are trying to get married to your own daughter, your own mother, and so the authorities would check all these things, and if there are not any impediments, the authorities would give you a date. And at that date, you will go to the registration office, or in some cases, they will come to hotels or other places, but then here, in this case, the venue must be recognized by the state, and the person who solemnizes your marriage must be the official person recognized by the state, appointed by the state. But if you are a Jew, that doesn't apply to you. This is also another kind of legal pluralism. This is an exemption given by the state, which is good. Or if you are a Sikh person, then you can carry, maybe very recently they changed it because the EU law, the European Court of Justice opposed it, as far as I remember, but I don't exactly remember the specific details. If you are a Sikh person, you are allowed to carry a small knife with you. If you are a Muslim, you are Osama bin Laden, the police would imprison you anyway. If you are a Hindu, same applies to you. But if you can prove that you are Sikh for religious purposes, you are entitled to, you are allowed to carry a small knife with you because it's part of your religion. And again, if you are a Sikh person, when you are riding a motorcycle, you don't have to wear a motorcycle crash helmet just because you are a Sikh person. You are a believer in Sikh religion. But if you are a Jew or a Muslim or a Christian, Anglican, doesn't matter, even the Prime Minister, you have to wear a motorcycle crash helmet. There is only one exception for the believers of the Sikh religion. So these are exemptions. For instance, Shops Act 1950. According to the Shops Act, this was also an exemption given to the Jews. They said that, okay, of course, in today's society, these things do not apply, and you can also shop on the internet anytime you like. But some 20, 30 years ago, on Sundays, all shops in Christian societies, especially Christian-dominated societies, they would be closed by law as well. And in 1950, before 1950, Jews rejected this. They objected to this, saying that, look, this is not just, because our religion asks us, Judaism asks us to close our shops on Saturdays as well. Just because we are from different religion, we are discriminated against because we have to close our shops twice a week. Not only Saturday, but also Sunday because of your unjust law. And then the English state said that, okay, fair enough. Then if you are a Jew, you can open your shop on Sundays, provided that you close it on Saturday. And houses where you slaughter your animals according to your religious rituals. It was the first Jews who got this right, just because they arrived the British Isles earlier than the others, than Muslims. And according to the Slaughterhouses Act, you can apply your own religious law, kosher law, when you are slaughtering your animals. And the Muslims said that, what about us? And then the English state says, okay, then you can have your own halal slaughterhouses. So these are some examples, but everything is not so bright. So the English state does not simply say that, okay, if this is your religion, you can apply it. That's not so easy. And this is what Muslims have at the moment. So I will focus on the issues of marriage and divorce. Why? Because in almost every religion, family is one of the most sensitive areas. I mean, the Pope was chosen elected yesterday, and one of the first discussions I looked at today's newspapers, especially enemies of Catholics, they are talking about abortion, this and divorce right of Catholic women, all these issues, okay? Then because family is important. It is just after God maybe and prophets, family is at the center stage of religions. So in every religion there are specific requirements with regards to family issues. For instance, if you look at Quran, with regards to state affairs, public law, you can find maybe 1 or 2 verses which are not even explicit. For instance, unlike what the Islamists would tell you, and also in a mirror-imaged version, the Islamophobes would tell you Quran is the constitutional book. No, in Quran you cannot find any blueprint for a state. You cannot find how the rulers should be elected, how the state should be structured, how the laws must be made. It only focuses on justice, equality, respecting humanity, humans, and remembering the judgment day, so trying to be fair and so on. But other than this, you do not have any specific laws on public affairs, on state affairs. But when it comes to family, there are several verses on whom to marry, how to marry. You mustn't marry your own daughter, your mother, or this and that, and then they should be above the age of puberty. When they are doing it, they must have witnesses, that the society, the community should witness that you are actually husband and wife, so that you are not committing adultery, and then trying to say that, no, we got married and you don't know, I mean, we only 2 of us were on the beach and we decided to marry and we became husband and wife. No, you have to have witnesses and so on. So these are all specific details when it comes to family law, and I'm sure in every other religion we have specifics. Anyway, so family has become the very sensitive area, and the modernity could not, reformers in Muslim societies and in other societies, family laws were always the last laws to be reformed and modified by the modern states. For instance, polygamy was only abolished in Turkey and then later in Tunisia in among more than 50 Muslim societies, because it is a sensitive area. And also talaq, the unilateral right of a husband to divorce his wife, in maybe a few countries it was abolished. So the states always prefer to stay away from the family law issues, because marriage is one of the vital life cycles of humans, and in every society you will find that marriage is given special importance, and it is surrounded by some rituals which are related to religion. Okay. So what happens is, in English law, Muslim marriage, nikah, and Muslim divorce, there are several Muslim divorces, but one of them is talaq, which is the most famous one, because in talaq you have this unilateral divorce of the husband without asking his wife, so you do not have any consent. The husband decided, okay, I am divorcing you, and that would be it. But as I said, there are several other Muslim versions of divorce. Anyway, they are not recognized by the state. What happens in society, let me cut the long story short, Muslims from Pakistan, India, and so on, when they arrived at the British Isles, when it comes to family law issues, they continue to apply their own religious laws. And in some cases, these religious laws were also their state laws. It is curious and it is strange that in the Indian case, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, and Indians, actually it was the British rulers and judges educated in Oxford and Cambridge who applied for more than a century these Islamic laws and Hindu laws in India. But these British judges, these very British judges, would say no when it comes to Indian and Hindu and Muslim laws if they wanted to apply same laws in their country. So these British judges would apply these laws in India, but they said these are dangerous, so in Rome, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So when you are in England, you have to apply the English law. This is what you must do. So what happened was that initially there were some clashes and so on, and then with the second generation and third generation emerging, then the Muslims have learned to apply these two laws at the same time. So this has resulted in the emergence of what Professor Werner Mansky calls Angrezi Shariat. Angrezi Shariat is an Urdu word which is English Sharia. Okay, English Sharia. So this is a hybrid manifestation of law. It is hybrid, and in the postmodern age, we talk about hybridization. Hybridization is one of the manifestations of postmodernity. So this has been also possible in not only in the English context, but also as far as Muslim laws are concerned, it took place. So this hybrid English law, or this hybrid Muslim law, is an amalgamation of two laws. So what happens is that when Muslims marry in England, they marry twice. So there are different, of course, permutations and combinations depending on the situation. But at the end of the day, what happens is that they both have an official but also an unofficial marriage. Unlike Christians, for instance, who would go to a church and get their marriage because churches are also recognized by the state, but the Muslims, what they did, they would go to an imam, get a nikah, so that in the eyes of the Muslim community, they wouldn't be committing adultery. And then after getting nikah, in the eyes of God, after getting married, then they would go to the official registration office so that their marriage would be recognized by the state, so that they could get state benefits and all other things and so on. They could get passport and visa for the wife, this and that. So they learned to apply these two. Of course, it is recently changing, and now there are several mosques similar to churches also. They are recognized by the state. So imam in the church, also he is an official if it is about marriage, then he becomes the official agent of the state, then he can also officially solemnize your marriage. So at the same time you can combine this. So this is a new emergence. So similar to church, then an imam, a mosque would do the same, but it took some time, 3 or 4 decades. But before that, Muslims would marry twice. This is not very complicated, it's easy. You are getting married, everybody is merry and happy, Merry Christmas, Merry Marriage. So everybody is happy, no problems. What about the divorce? This is much more complicated, and this is what not only Muslims but Jews have been suffering from, especially the vulnerable members of the communities who are women. So what happens was that, as I said, because there is this unilateral divorce right of husbands, they would simply divorce their wives unilaterally without any consent and without any official court case, and saying that, okay, talak, 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 and you are divorced. What happens to the woman? She is officially still married, but religiously not. What can she do? And the husband says that, okay, I can divorce you officially as well if you give me the children and if you do not demand any money from me and this and that. Or in some cases the opposite applies, and then what happens is that they go to the court, and then the judge hears them, and then he says that, okay, you've been an idiot husband, I am divorcing you. This is most probably the case, that's why I'm saying this. The husband would be the idiot one. Anyway, so the judge would divorce, the English judge would divorce them. But then what about the religious divorce? Actually, when we look at the traditional or classical Islamic law, there is not such a thing. In Islamic law, unlike Christianity, marriage is a contract. It is a secular affair. It is not religious at all. Okay? What happens is, if husband and wife agree to marry each other, and if you have 2 witnesses, similar to any other contract, if you have 2 witnesses, then you have your marriage done. That's it. You don't need any special formula, any imam saying some witchcraftic things and blah blah. You don't need this, okay? And anyone can solemnize your marriage. Even the bridegroom can solemnize his own marriage, as long as you have 2 witnesses and as long as you announce your marriage to the community. That's a marriage. That's it. You don't have to do it in a mosque. You can do it in the beach, in a cinema, whatever you like. In Valentine's Day, doesn't matter. Okay? And similar to this, talaq or divorce is the same. You don't need any religious recognition of this and that, and if you get an official divorce, this is also a religious divorce. Because at the end of the day, if the husband says that I am divorcing you, that's it. And actually in Islamic law, the issue of divorce is much more sensitive. So in opposition to the stereotypical understanding, in Islamic law, talaq is very sensitive. It's a huge burden on the shoulders of the husbands. Of course, if you take into account the hereafter, if you do not, it is not a huge burden. It is not a huge burden. He would say it, and that would be it. But when we look at Muslim societies, we see that divorce rate is very low. It seems very easy to divorce your wives, but it is not so easy. She would kill you first. But other than that, you have the family, brothers, everybody, community, Gemeinschaft, pressure, and all other things, okay? So it's not just so easy, okay, I'm divorcing you. So statistically speaking, this is what happened actually. In Muslim societies, divorce rate is very low. Anyway, that's not my point. The point is that it is so sensitive that Islamic law says that even you joke about divorcing your wife, this is taken seriously by God. This is taken seriously by Islamic law, and you actually divorce your wife. You cannot joke about it, okay? So jokingly you are saying, okay, I am divorcing you, you lost your wife, that's it. And if you do this 3 times, this is most dangerous, because in Islamic law, if you divorce your wife 3 times, you can, in the first 2 cases, you can remarry her, okay? No problems. You change your mind and then you get married to her again. But after the 3rd case, you need an intervening marriage, which means that she has to go and get married to someone else, and if this someone else decides to divorce her, then you can get your wife back. This is a very sensitive issue, as you can see. I don't need to explain the details, of course. Okay? So, this is a sensitive issue, but because Muslim women, unfortunately, they are not qualified in Islamic law, they don't know this. And this is being abused. This lack of knowledge of Islamic law has been abused by some ridiculous Muslim husbands. So they say that even though, as I said, the official law, official divorce is also an Islamic divorce, he would say that no, I am not divorcing you unofficially, I won't give you talaq. You need to give me this and that, you need to give me the children, you need to give me money, and so they